I want to tell you about a woman who was slowly disappearing. Not physically. She was right there, in the house, in the kitchen, at the school run, in the bed. She was physically present every single day. But piece by piece, word by word, criticism by criticism, the woman she used to be was being chipped away. And by the time she sat down in front of me, she was so much smaller than she had started out that even she could not remember what the original version of herself had looked like. Her name was April. She had been with her husband Jose since they were teenagers. 9 years total. 4 years of marriage. 4 children together, including a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old still at home. She had given this man her entire adult life. And in return he had spent years telling her she was stupid. That she was dumb. That she could not finish anything she started. And he had been saying those things not just to her but to her children. My name is Patricia Monroe. I was a family court judge for 23 years. I am retired now. And I want to tell you about this case because it is one that I think about when I hear people talk about controlling relationships. Because Jose was not a violent man. He never hit April. He never threatened her physically. But what he did to her inside that marriage was its own kind of damage. Quiet damage. Slow damage. The kind that does not leave marks you can photograph and bring into a courtroom, but that shows up in the way a woman holds herself and the way she speaks about herself and the way she looks at her own hands when she thinks nobody is watching. April and Jose met when they were young. Teenagers finding each other in that specific intense way that teenagers do. Like the other person is the most important discovery you have ever made. They were together for years before they got married. They built a life together. 4 children. A home. Everything that from the outside looks like success. But something had gone wrong somewhere along the way. And by the time they came to my courtroom, neither one of them could fully explain when it started or why. It had just become the air they breathed inside that house. Suspicion. Control. Criticism. Fear. All of it blended together until it felt normal because it had been normal for so long. April told me that Jose would not let her have social media. No accounts. No profiles. Nothing. Because he was convinced that if she had access to social media, she would use it to connect with other men. She could not have friends without him questioning her motives. She could not go out without him assuming the worst. She had been living inside his jealousy for so long that she had stopped trying to argue against it, and had just started living smaller to avoid setting it off. Now I have to be fair here because fair is what I was paid to be. April had given Jose a reason for that jealousy at one point. Back in 2011 when they were not yet married, they had a bad argument. Jose said it was over. And within less than a week April had gotten with someone else. They were apart for 2 months before getting back together. I am not here to say that was right. It was not. But I am also not here to pretend that one incident during a relationship breakup, years before the marriage even happened, is a sufficient reason to imprison someone inside your distrust for the rest of their lives. Because that is what Jose had done. He had taken that one incident and built a cage out of it. And April had been living in that cage ever since. But here is where the story gets more complicated. Because April had her own trust issues with Jose. She told me he had cheated on her too. She said his friends were not trustworthy, men who moved between women constantly, and that being around them made her suspicious of what Jose might be doing when she was not there. So here were 2 people who had both hurt each other and both been hurt, and neither one of them had ever fully healed from any of it. They were just carrying all of it. Every wound, every suspicion, every grievance, into every single day of their marriage. And their 4 children were living inside all of that. Jose had done something in that marriage that I found deeply troubling. When April struggled with school, and she did struggle going back several times without finishing, Jose made sure the children knew about it. He used it as a lesson. He showed the children his high school diploma, and told them their mother did not have one because she was dumb. He used her failure as a teaching moment, as proof that he was the better parent, the smarter one, the one worth listening to. I told him directly in my courtroom that what he was doing to his children was not teaching them about education. It was teaching them to disrespect their mother. And a child who has been taught to disrespect their mother will not listen to her, will not follow her instructions, will not see her as an authority in their own home. Jose had been wondering why there was chaos in the house, why the children did not behave, why April was always yelling to get them to do anything. And I had to tell him, you created that problem. You told those children their mother was nothing. And now you are surprised that they treat her like nothing. That moment in my courtroom was one of the moments I remember most clearly from this case. Not because Jose argued with me. He did not. He sat there and he heard it, and I could see something shifting in him. Slowly. Reluctantly. But shifting. There was something else Jose had done, or rather something he had stopped doing, that April brought up and that I think deserves to be said clearly. After their children were born, Jose had pulled away from April physically. She said he was present at the births, and then something changed. He stopped seeing her the way he used to see her. He would look at other women. He would stare. And April, who said she was in good shape, who said she felt she looked good, would stand right next to him and feel completely invisible. Like she was just there. Like she was furniture. There is a specific kind of pain that comes from being invisible to the person who is supposed to see you most clearly. April had been living in that pain for years on top of everything else. I said something to Jose that I want to say again now because I meant it, and I think it is one of the most important things I said in that courtroom. I told him he was like a man who had bought a beautiful car, loved it, cherished it, thought it was wonderful, and then spent years hitting it with a sledgehammer and could not understand why it was broken. He had broken April. Not all at once. Not dramatically. Just slowly and steadily over years of small destructions. A name here. A comparison there. A dismissal. A look. A silence. Until the woman sitting across from me was a shadow of whoever she had been when he first fell in love with her. And then I said something to him that I want every person watching this to hear. I said, if you look only for fault in a person, that is all you will ever see. If you collect their mistakes and hold on to every error and focus always on what is wrong rather than what is right, you will stop seeing a person entirely. You will only see a mistake. And you cannot love a mistake. You cannot build anything with a mistake. You need to see the whole person, the good and the bad, and choose the person anyway. That is what love is. That is what marriage is. Jose heard me. I believe he did. He sat in that courtroom, and when I asked him to say one good thing about April without complaining in the same breath, he said she was a strong woman. He said she had proven it to him many times. He said if she put her mind to something, she could do anything. And he said the miscommunication between them was what brought her down. Not her. The situation. Not April herself. That was the first honest and generous thing he said about her in the entire hearing. And April heard it. I watched her face change when he said it. Now April had not come to my courtroom asking for a divorce. I want to make that very clear. She had come asking for help. She had come because she wanted things to work out and could not figure out how to make them work on her own. She told Jose directly, I love you. I just want things to work out. I want us to communicate more. I want you to help me more with the children. I do not want my marriage to fall apart. That is not what a woman says when she is done. That is what a woman says when she still has hope, but is running out of time, and needs someone to finally hear her. And I believe Jose heard her. I do. He sat in my courtroom and he made a commitment in front of me and in front of everyone watching. He said he would stop criticizing April in front of the children. He said he would pay more attention to the small things instead of always focusing on the big problems. He said he would help more with the children. I cannot tell you whether he kept those commitments after they walked out of my courtroom. I never can. That is the hardest part of this job, and it does not get easier in retirement. You do what you can in that room and then you let them go and you hope. But I will tell you what I told Jose before they left. I told him, you have a daughter. And your daughter will live the life that you give your wife. If she grows up watching you tear her mother down, she will find a man who tears her down and she will stay because it feels familiar. If she grows up watching you dismiss her mother, she will find a man who dismisses her, and she will accept it, because that is what she learned love looks like. You are not just a husband in that house. You are a teacher. And what you are teaching right now, every single day in every single interaction, is the lesson your daughter will carry into her own marriage one day. He said he understood. I hope he did. Because April deserved to be seen. Fully. Completely. The way she was seen at the beginning before the years and the children and the jealousy and the criticism ground her down into something smaller. She was still in there. The whole person, the strong woman Jose himself admitted she was when he finally let himself say it. She was still in there. She just needed someone to stop hitting her with the sledgehammer long enough for her to remember it. My name is Patricia Monroe. I was a family court judge for 23 years. I am retired now. And this was one of the stories I carried off that bench with me. There are more. I will see you in the next one.